Microsoft just canceled most of its Claude Code licenses. Microsoft, the company that owns GitHub, the company sitting on enough computing to make a small country feel insecure, and even they looked at the bill and went, yeah, no. And the landlord is telling the tenants, hey, could you please stop ordering DoorDash? We have a kitchen downstairs. And the funny part is, Microsoft is not even the weird case. It's just the cleanest one. Everybody is suddenly discovering the magic agent has a meter attached. Axios has this phrase, AI sticker shock hits corporate America, which is a very polite way of saying executives opened the bill and started quietly sweating through a quarter zip. Ballooning IT costs, productivity gains nobody can prove, employees who don't trust the outputs, and my new favorite word of the year, tokenmaxxing. The strategy of burning as many AI tokens as humanly possible and calling it innovation. Very cool, very normal, very freaking healthy industry we have here. Recently, Windows Central reported engineers inside experiences and devices were told to ease off Claude Code and move back to GitHub Copilot CLI. The official reasoning is very enterprise, very adult, benchmarking tools in real workflows, shipping a product GitHub can shape for their revices. Beautiful sentence. Translation, somebody opened a dashboard, saw the meter, and made a face. To be clear, I haven't seen an internal Microsoft memo. I'm not pretending I did. What we have is a pullback, a consolidation, and the very loud sound of a CFO clearing their throat. And the wild part is, this isn't Claude Code being bad. The scary version is the opposite. Engineers used it because it was useful. Useful is exactly how the bill gets you. A useless tool dies in procurement. A useful tool becomes a line item nobody modeled correctly. Then there's Uber. Andrew McDonald, Uber's president and COO, basically admits there is not yet a clear link between AI token usage and shipping useful consumer features.
We had blown through our AI budget for 2026, and it was like, middle of March or something when he said this, and everyone was like, oh, head exploding moment. We're going to have to start talking about token consumption and the associated cost versus headcount and like making trades on that as an engineering organization. And so if you're not actually able to draw a direct line to how much, useful features and functionality you're shipping to your users, that trade becomes harder to justify.
Because it's not free. AI is not free.
No, it can feel that way. And if you're like just a user sitting there and coming up with interesting use cases and you don't pay the bill, like it can feel that way, but somebody's paying the bill.
And their CTO, Pravin Nepalinaga, reportedly said Uber had already burned through the Claude Code budget. Forbes reported it, citing the information, which I have not seen directly. But 4 months, bro, that's not a budget. That's a free trial with a traumatic ending. A Washington Post intelligence PDF backs up the scale. Over 90% adoption of Cursor and Claude Code at Uber. Scaffolding, tests, cleanup, revisions. That's a real engineering org routing real work through agents. And the budget evaporated. To be fair, burning a budget doesn't automatically prove bad economics. Maybe it saved more hours than it cost. But notice how slippery that defense gets. Saved where, cost what, whose line item. Engineering productivity goes in a slide deck. Token spend goes in the actual invoice. The CFO sees the invoice, the CTO sees the vibe. And somewhere in the middle is a pull request with 12 generated tests passing for reasons nobody really wants to dig into. And the vendor pitch was so clean, right? Picture the demo. Some PM in a Patagonia vest goes, just describe what you want, and the agent handles it. Sure, it handles it. It handles it 3 times. It writes a test, it rereads the monorepo, it apologizes, it tries again. And the cost? Oh, don't worry about it, buddy. We have a conversation budget. That phrase is real. Conversation budget, straight from Claude support docs. It's adorable. Like the model is a teenager at the mall and you handed it $40 for the food court. Except it isn't a conversation. It's an autonomous agent firing thousands of requests while you're in the kitchen making coffee. That's not a freaking conversation. That's a compute slot machine with a really pleasant voice. And Anthropic clearly knows their own docs now carve Agent SDK and Claude P usage on subscription plans into a separate monthly Agent SDK credit, a whole new meter, a whole new accounting category, because interactive chat and programmatic agent loops are economically different animals, and they finally admitted it on paper. Axios was already pointing at this before the sticker shock framing. All-you-can-eat AI subscriptions may not survive the agent era. Automated workloads burn compute faster than humans physically can click. Tape that sentence above procurement. Humans cannot click fast enough to bankrupt you. Agents absolutely can. Here's the part most people are missing. A human worker is expensive, sure, but bounded. Salary, benefits, laptop, meetings, existential dread. You can forecast that to 2 decimal place. And every metric becomes a game. Lines of code became a game. Story points became a game. Now tokens are a game. Tokens are uniquely stupid as a prestige metric because tokens are literally the cost. It's like ranking your sales team by how much they spend on airport food. Congrats, Brad. You ate $47 of Cinnabon this quarter. You're up for promotion. A chat reply is one thing. A coding agent with shell access, test loops, Rebbe search, model routing, web browsing. Dude, that's a tiny operating system made of invoices. You replaced repetitive labor with a distributed system that needs quotas, evals, observability, retry policy, audit logs, and a budget kill switch. Cool. We invented Kubernetes for interns. The future of AI coding looks less like everyone gets a genius assistant and more like Cloud FinOps with a beard. Token budgets per repeat. Model routing per task. Dashboards showing which agent burned $300 trying to rename a CSS class. Some VP will call it AI governance because saying we gave automation a corporate card sounds less investable. And the companies that own their own cloud, their own model serving, their own first-party tools, they get a structural advantage. Microsoft pushing Copilot CLI is not just product strategy, it's cost control. If you own the platform, you negotiate with yourself. If you're Uber paying third-party agent prices across thousands of engineers, you're doing enterprise software development inside someone else's arcade. And that doesn't mean nobody should use Claude Code or Cursor or Codex. The question changes, not does it write code? Of course it writes code. The real question is, does the full loop produce maintainable software at a unit cost you can defend in a room with adults? And that loop includes the prompt, the diff, the tests, the review, the rework, the security scan, and the weird bug 3 months later when nobody remembers the agent invented a fake abstraction. AI makes code cheaper to produce. It does not automatically make systems cheaper to own. Sometimes it makes the wrong thing cheaper. More boilerplate. More tests no one trusts. So the winning engineer isn't the one who maxes the token meter. It's the one who knows when to leave the model the hell alone. Judgment becomes the scarce resource. Taste becomes the scarce resource. The ability to look at a ticket and say, no, we are not spinning up a 15-minute agent loop to change a string constant, that becomes a leadership competency. And honestly, that's the funniest part. We were told AI would dissolve the boring management layer. Instead, the job is managing the AI itself, like a reckless junior dev with a company make credit. So the Axios sticker shock story isn't really about sticker shock. It's about companies finally using the agents enough to find the hidden price tag. And the price tag says the future isn't humans versus AI, it's humans plus AI plus a spreadsheet quietly asking everyone to please calm the hell down. Which is wild, because the spreadsheet might be the only adult in the room. Well, on that note, thanks for watching.